So I'm going to see if I can make this very real using a customer example. So there's a customer called Cymer, and they started with an N-1 data center, all kind of physical. Starting in January 2007, they had around 160 physical hosts, and they started to play with a tool that was just fantastic called VMware Workstation. They said, you know what, this is great. We should look at GSX, and that obviously led to the next thing, which is in mid-2007, they deployed their first ESX cluster. Pair of actually ESX 3.0.1 servers using mostly DAS and a little bit of iSCSI to kind of get them started using vMotion and VMHA. What they quickly realized is this is serious. Let's move to data center design generation N, the current generation, right? That says, okay, we're going to move into a more full-blown production use case. We're going to take those two ESX servers, deploy them on a CX320 that's a combo unit, iSCSI and fiber. We'll start to deploy more ESX servers in the cluster. They're not all exactly the same, but they're using different types of servers, but they're using multi-core CPUs, and different servers have got different amounts of memory ranging between 32 gigs and 128 gigs of RAM. But notice how that comes back to that axiom. The ESX servers of yesterday will pale compared to the ESX servers of tomorrow. And now what they're doing is they're deploying, now they have 200 VMs deployed, and you can see the physical server count is shrinking and shrinking. The next step for them is to look at this next generation data center design. And this is currently the road that they're on, they've embarked on. And it's all three of us, right? So Cisco for the networking infrastructure, VMware mass deployment at 2 data centers, EMC technologies to replicate both block, file, and even object level storage. So what do they want to use that for? They want to build the next generation data center type design. Ubiquitous VMware, as fast as they can, increase their VM count and decrease their physical server count, right? They want to look at archiving their VMs using, Lifecycle Manager and using the EMC archiving platforms as an archive target for their VMs, right? To lower their costs as much as they can. They're looking at Site Recovery Manager. So as you saw, they're using RecoverPoint, which is actually, in their case, it's homogeneous, but it can actually work heterogeneously. And we've actually been shipping that heterogeneous support for basically since the launch of Site Recovery Manager. And we're seeing customers just adopt Site Recovery Manager like crazy because it's a fantastic product that makes a complex workflow much, much more easy. Instant VM level backup and recovery using the tool that we've got, Replication Manager, that integrates with Virtual Center and with ESX to give you VM level consistent snaps. And then getting better end-to-end reporting and orchestration as much as they can with these different frameworks integrating in together. Now, I always like to ask customers, why did you choose EMC, right? I'm always first, thank you, right? But what did we do right? And they said, what you did right is you brought VMware, Cisco, and EMC experts, along with Stack, who is basically a partner of all three of ours, to the table to build a solution for us. You spoke to us in terms of our Tier 1 application level requirements, SQL Server, on VMware, on the infrastructure. You brought people who were VCPs within EMC, and here's a weird stat for you. EMC is now up to 400 VCPs within EMC proper, right? VMware themselves have got 650, rough and tough. The reason that we're doing that, by the way, isn't to just create a huge sort of practice, but rather our view of it is that VMware knowledge is something that is intrinsic. The person who answers 1-800-SVC for EMC when you have a problem needs to know, okay, oh, it's an ESX server, did you configure this, right? And engineers need to know it because they're building the products around that. And all of our general pre-sales folks that help you in your designs need to know it, right? So it's a big investment that we're making not only in product, but just in sheer know-how. So, I see you guys there, Keith and Brett. Thank you very much, guys. And if anybody wants to hear more about their example, I don't want you to mob them, but just you can raise your hand. He's right up here in the front corner. So thank you very much. So wrapping this up really briefly, the next generation data center isn't tomorrow. It's not next generation. It's here now. These technologies are all existing and shipping. Leverage the technologies that we're all bringing to bear and the know-how Thank you very much for being customers, and stop by the booth where you can see and find out much, much more. Thank you.